Hello and welcome to the second edition of Half Hour, a podcast starring me, John Paul Ogidici, as your host. In today's episode, I will discuss travel with my friend Chris Burns. We've known each other for a few years, and if you want to just take it away, go ahead.
Hi, so my name is Chris Burns. I live about an hour away from JP, and today I was kind of just wanted to talk about travel in the U.S. versus Americans traveling abroad. And I was looking kind of just on the internet, and I found that only about a third of Americans have valid passports, and I found that very interesting. Really? Yeah.
See, I always feel like just having a passport is just something people should just go and get. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's just so important to just have, just in case you want to go see the world, or I know there's a lot of people with relatives that live in other countries. Like my buddy came in the liquor store the other day, and his cousin came in from Sicily, and I practiced a little bit of Italian with him, which is cool. But you're right. I think a lot of people don't have these passports, and they should maybe endeavor to get some.
Yeah. I think it's I went on a site and it showed it kind of by each region of like which region has like the most percentage, like the highest percentage and the lowest. And New England was like among like the highest. Places like Arizona, California had some of the highest because Mexico's right there. And then like Montana, Alaska had a high percentage because like right on the border, at least Canada's also right there. But I think having family members in different parts of the world, if you go down like south in like Alabama, or this isn't like a joke, like a lot of their family, like their whole family is there.
I think a good word would be insular. It's
Yeah.
a very insular community. The South is pretty geographically isolated like that, I suppose. I mean, with air travel, it's being negated further and further, but I see what you mean. They call them flyover states.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good word that people use to describe that phenomenon. But where was one of your favorite locations to travel, either like around here or like just further, like
Around here, it's definitely, the national parks
yeah, I can't disagree.
pretty
Yeah,
great.
already.
I mean, we have 53 of them. I mean, my goal is to go to all 53. I've been to one. But, yeah, I mean, New England's a great region. It kind of has a lot to offer. Mm-hmm. But I like, traveling places where the forestry is a little different. I find that very, like, charming. Like, I was in Florida a couple months ago, and just the absence of pine trees for a week and a half was very, very strange to me.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that you like look at the surroundings and kind of view how the environment is different.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good that's a very good thing to be doing. I know that in New England, I like how Chris and I have climbed a lot of mountains, and it's cool to kind of see the biome change as you go up. You can see how like the trees begin to get shorter and shorter, and then
Towards
eventually
the alpine level,
yeah, and then there's nothing eventually, and then you just have shrubs and like grassy like areas, and you have the trail that kind of walks around the mountain. And one of my favorites that we did was the Lafayette Trail. What
was cool about Lafayette is we had Mount Lincoln and Little Haystack, which kind of looked like your run of the mill, but when you got towards Lafayette, it was like hard slabs of just granite.
Yeah,
like you could look down and think, "Oh my God, this could be a countertop in 5 seconds."
Yeah, and it's so fascinating how the mountains in New Hampshire are a little they're kind of not so sharp, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they're very dull towards the top.
Yeah, like they're very rounded. It's because of how ancient the mountain range is.
Yeah, it's so old. Yeah.
When I studied in the Czech Republic, I saw a few different mountains over there, and the mountains so the Czech Republic is almost in a basin, and it's surrounded by these mountain ranges to the north, to the west, and to the south to an extent. Those mountains remind me a little bit of our mountains around here. They're kind of like rolling and but they're still big. They're not as big as New Hampshire. I mean, the tallest mountain in the Czech Republic is called Sněžka. That one is 5,500 feet, I think, somewhere in there. Yeah. So it's like a Lafayette-sized mountain.
Okay.
But it's not like, I'd say it's pretty rolling.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that I got really lucky, and I was able to take some of my friends on a hike in this country, and we took the railway up to this town called Lovosice, and then the mountains called Lovos. I could be pronouncing it wrong. I'm not an expert in the language, but it was such a cool experience because these mountains, they call them the České střední hory, and they're like very, very pyramidal. Is that a word? I'm not even.
I think people know what you mean, but I'm not sure if you'll find it in a dictionary.
Very, very like mountain looking, like you'd see in like a comic or something. Like it looks like that.
Triangular, yeah.
Yeah, and they're not very big mountains, dude. 2,000-3,000 feet max. Okay. But they looked like miniature, like big mountains. Like they just had that look to them. So we climbed up a few of them. They're ancient volcanoes, so they have that very volcanic cone shape. I think that's what I was trying to say. But yeah, I mean, traveling there and just kind of seeing these peaks just kind of dot the northwestern part of the country, and kind of going there with friends. Everyone was taking pictures. It was great. We had a great view on the top. I would say I put most people out of their comfort zone, but not to the point where they were like uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, or really, really, wishing they weren't
terrified.
There. Yeah. Yeah, like it was. It's a nice and easy kind of route up. It wasn't like hand over foot at any point. It was just a trail going up. So I think it was a good decision. I think a lot of people liked it, and I kind of broadened the whole hiking thing to a lot of people in my school. So I really feel lucky that I was able to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that. I mean, I guess it's kind of expected, but mountain ranges in different parts of the world, they're just like a person who isn't very interested in hiking might just look at a random picture of a mountain and say, oh, it's a mountain. But someone who's hiked a lot, like it's very, very different each range. Like the White Mountains and the Appalachian Range, despite being like 200 miles from each other, they couldn't be more different.
Yeah. And I don't know, I like how a mountain really feels like a journey kind of, because you pull up to the parking lot, get out of your car with your gear, and then you just start walking, and you find the trail. And of course you want to have things on you. You want to have water. You might want to have snacks. You want to get there at the right time.
Coffee if it's cold.
So the coffee's good. Sometimes you don't want to wing it, especially in the wintertime. But I've winged a few. I've really planned out for a few.
Yeah, remember the first couple we did? We went in late October, early November. None of us had the ice spikes for our shoes. Chicora and Cannon was the one where pretty much every one of us fell, at least at some point.
Yeah, I fall down all the time, like all the time. One of my favorites that I did was in Eastern Europe. It's called Risi. It's a mountain between Poland and Slovakia. What an amazing experience, dude.
Yeah.
What an amazing experience. That felt like one of the Rocky Mountains, dude. It was crazy.
Did you end up doing the Beehive up in Acadia?
No.
Did you do Door?
I did do Door.
Did you finish the ladder trail, or did you go up the other way?
No, I did the ladder trail.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
I did Door, and then I did we did Door to Cadillac.
Oh, very nice.
And then like back down that same way.
Yeah, we did the Beehive, and it's incredible. It's only a 5,000 foot hike, but it's like every step you take, there's like an iron rung you have to hang on to. It's incredible.
See, I love a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I could ever do like the rock climbing face of walls that are like this. Like I'm just not sure if that's for me. Maybe I do it for a couple feet, but if I'm looking down and it's like really far down, I'm gonna have a problem. That's far.
You know Cathedral Ledge up in New Hampshire?
Mm-hmm.
People climb that. Like there's a golf course right, and people teeing off can hear like sounds of like rock picks, and they're like, what on earth is that? And they get to the ledge, and there are people going up.
Yeah. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to me. I mean, people should do what they want to do. Like go for it. I'll watch from the ground. I'll wave to you as you're going up because it's nuts.
When me, Nick, and Gavin were doing the Beehive, we were staying on the trail because we had a few people in our party who were terrified.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going up, very, very meticulously. But then we looked down because there's a line, because you can only go up one at a time. So obviously there's a queue.
Mm-hmm.
People were cutting the line just open-handed, just rock climbing.
Yeah.
Up like 30 feet. It was incredible.
To me, it all depends on the angle. Like, I can feel safe if the angle isn't so big. Like,
Yeah.
if I were to let go and fall, and I fall about, less than 5 feet, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. But there are some things that are just rock face,
Yeah.
and like, that's scary. But you were talking about the national parks. There's 53 of them.
53.
I didn't know that.
They're not all in the continental U.S. because like American Samoa is a national park.
Okay.
I believe one of the U.S. Virgin Islands is a national park. But yeah, there's 53 of them, all kind of in like the United States.
I think it's cool that you want to visit all of them. I could see myself doing that too someday because it's just, I want to see the natural wonder of this country.
Yeah, right.
I've done a lot of hiking here in New England, also in Europe a little bit, and it just inspires me to kind of, see the rest of the world. I say to people a lot, especially, some of my friends out there, I've been telling them, I go, I feel like a great way to see a country is go to the capital and then go climb a mountain nearby.
Yeah.
Because you're driving through the landscape, like you're going and seeing. Like, I can't say I've been to Hungary. I've been to Budapest.
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
right.
I've been to Hungary, but it's like the New York City of Hungary.
Yeah, what percentage of people who come to the U.S. go to New York City and leave the U.S. thinking, oh my God, what a piece of garbage.
Yeah, like New York is definitely not the epicenter of the country.
No.
It's like you can say like, oh, I've been to New York City. New York City's like its own place. Like
Yeah, it
it's
is.
not.
It really
it's
is.
America, but it's really its own place.
Yeah.
And now if this person said I went to New York and then I drove up to upstate New York and went to a cabin, for
Yeah.
like a week with my family and like we did some hiking and like maybe we saw some more of the local culture.
Yeah, right,
Okay,
right.
you've been in America. You went into like into the deeper part of the
Yeah,
country.
because I know people who have gone to New York City. They spent like a day there, and they completely upended their entire trip because they hated it. They ended up going to Niagara Falls. They went to some of the state parks in New York, and they were like, "This is awesome. This is great. I'm so happy we left the city."
Yeah, and I think New York can be improved a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that recently I went there about a year ago with Chris and another friend, and it was just in bad shape, and it's kind of sad to see. I would love to see New York as like the shining city of the United States. Like it is our largest city by far. It's massive. So I want it to be the gem that we show everybody, but recently it's just been
It needs a mega skyscraper like the Burj
like
Khalifa.
the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. See, I want to travel to Dubai. I have some friends there, and I want to see that building. That to me, I want to
that
get on
would
the
be
elevator and go to the top.
Incredible. What is like? How many feet is that?
Oh God, I think it's like 3,000 something.
Yeah, that's-
I could be wrong. I don't think it's a mile tall. I don't think it's
No.
near that. But it is huge.
Yeah, that
it is
crazy.
huge.
I went to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
as a kid, and I went to the Sears. It's the
Sears
Willis.
Tower?
It's the Willis Tower now, but when I went there,
It was
I
the
think it was
Sears
the
Tower.
Sears Tower.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something.
Did you know? You ever see the map of like the 13 colonies, like back in like the 1780s or something?
I'm hoping to get one for my house. Yeah, I love that.
like
stuff,
those, yeah. I haven't been west of like the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, really?
I mean, okay, I went to Buffalo, New York. I drove down to South Carolina. I went to Florida. That might be the furthest west I've gone, actually, because I haven't. My family and I in high school, we were going to travel to California, but I came down with the stomach bug.
Oof.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah,
I was at work. I was sick. I said to my boss, I go, "Do you have Tums?" And he's like, "Nah." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, right?" And I'm keeping score for the hockey game, and then all of a sudden I just get sick.
Ooh.
It was awful. It went everywhere.
I had
to clean it up.
Ironically, the furthest west I've been was Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be like the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, but I'm just gonna say Chicago.
Yeah.
But I had the stomach bug then too. That was awful. Yeah, I remember going to the Lego store because I was 11, and
Oh, dude, come on!
I
The Lego
have
store
to
is where
go.
you have to go.
It was a very big Lego
You gotta
store.
go to
It
the
was
Lego
pretty
store.
neat.
I love the Lego store. But I know that one of the nearest national parks to us is Is it Shenandoah?
It's Smoky.
Smoky?
Smoky Mountains.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
Shenandoah. I think it's a state. It could be a national park though.
Yeah, I think you might have more information than I do.
I
I'm
know
not
I
sure.
know the Smoky Mountains. That's down in like Tennessee, I want to say, or like parts of Virginia as well. That's the other than Acadia. That's one of the closest ones.
I can't describe to you how when I was on the train going to Slovakia from Prague, right? And all I can think about is the views of these places and how, like, we should really preserve some more landscape because I think that a lot of this country is just so beautiful and untouched. But when I was on the train going to Slovakia, we're heading east. Everything, Slovakia is a mountainous country. It's dominated by these kind of mid-range peaks, but the high Tatra mountain ranges kind of blow anything in the eastern seaboard out of the water.
Yeah.
I mean, these mountains are huge, dude.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And I was looking at them from a distance, and on the map, it almost looks like a blemish on the map. It's like an oval shape with just these peaks that are just dominating the area. And they share some of it with Poland, but it's mostly in Slovakia. And me and my buddy from California were looking out the train window, and we're just like aghast by like what we're seeing. I mean, these mountains are like just physically they look different from the rest. Slovakia has a lot of mountains that kind of run like west to east, kind of like Slovakia is like a horizontal country.
Yeah.
It's like kind of long ways,
right? Yeah.
And the mountains kind of
yeah,
and it runs that way. The high Tatras are like just this cluster of these really tall mountains, dude. It was absolutely beautiful. I have some pictures I can show you. Obviously, I'm sure I showed you some, but dude, we started at 6:30 a.m. We didn't get off this thing till 7:30.
Oh, really?
It was a 13-hour day.
That is incredible. What was the elevation of it?
Actually,
you probably know it in meters more than feet.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it was 8,200 meters, which is times 3.8. Hold on, I'm gonna look right now. Give me a second. But it was cool, man. I really had a great time doing this. Like, I can't describe to you enough. If you ever find yourself in this part of the world, you want to come visit me, we can go do something like that. I plan on climbing the tallest mountain in Germany soon, like maybe in September when I get back.
Is that in like the Alps reach into Germany?
Yeah. Okay. So Germany in the very south, that's where the Alps are.
So that tallest mountain in Germany, I imagine it's part of the Alps, or?
Yeah. This is 2,503 meters. So I think I was getting near the foot range. I said 8,000 meters. I'm like, oh, what am I climbing Mount Everest? So if I convert that, 2,503. Yeah. So all right, I had the foot number in my head. I wasn't saying meters. I mean feet. 8,211 feet.
Yeah, that's not a sleeper. Yeah,
it was
big.
2K
on Washington.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? Supposedly there's a mountain in North Carolina that's 7,000, almost 8,000 feet.
Yeah, we don't talk about.
Yeah,
them.
North Carolina.
Yeah, we don't talk about that mountain.
Yeah.
I always like to think Mount Washington's the tallest in the Appalachian, and I don't want to hear anything else. Like I know that I think it's called Mount Mitchell or something. But
yeah,
what's a better name for the tallest mountain in the Appalachian Mountain Range? You tell me. I don't know, but I look at hiking as kind of like a way to go see the country and kind of go see the countryside. And
it's a very good excuse to travel insane amounts of distance to.
Yeah. I some of the ones that I want to do someday are like Pikes Peak, Mount Elbrus. That one I'm probably not gonna be able to do. That's in Russia, so
yeah.
Good luck going to Russia right now.
I mean, I would love to do the tallest one in North America, like Denali, but I don't know how possible that is.
They say that mountain is the most like there's a word for it. Isolated. It starts with a P. You've said this word to me before. I'm trying to think of it. It's like when the mountain's like by itself.
Oh. I'm blanking on the word.
Well, whatever it is, the mountain's kind of like by itself, and you have to like start further down because it's like on its own, like kind of like some mountains you're already high up in like the mountain ranges.
Oh yeah, so it's like protruding on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but they have this specific word for it.
Okay.
I don't know what prominence.
Oh, yep.
Yep, that's what it is. But yeah, man, I think that, you know, this all kind of wraps into how traveling is such a good experience to kind of, you know, learn maybe a bit more about yourself and learn about the world around you. I know we both have experience traveling. I'm really blessed to be able to go to school in Prague and kind of see Europe and like all of the different cultural effects that are there. And Prague's a very international city, man. I can't recommend this place enough. But yeah, so you vacation on Michigan, right?
It's been a while. My family went out there last month, but I had work, so I couldn't go. But I want to go to Isle Royale, which is the national park in the Great Lakes.
Is that near the Upper Arm?
So kind of. It's in the middle. It's just in Lake Superior.
Okay. Oh, it's like in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's desolate. There's nothing there. You have to take a ferry out, and it's very. There's not much like. I don't think there are any mountains on it. But it's a backpacking national park. So you go, you carry your tent, your sleeping bag, anything you need.
That sounds cool,
something
man.
you could use to fight a wolf if you had to, I suppose, and just kind of pretty much camp out there. But it seems very, very interesting.
When I was younger, I used to go to this camp in New Hampshire, and there was an island in the middle of this lake that, you know, we'd swim at the camp, and it was called Monkey Island. Funnily enough, it was called Monkey Island. But we'd go there and we'd play like. My brother knows the name of the game. My brother's there right now. He's actually working there. Yeah. Basically, it was like a tag kind of game, but there was also like a hide and seek element to it, and like it was like a team based thing.
Manhunt.
Yeah, it was like Manhunt,
Okay.
but they were like teams, but that there were many teams or something. I don't know, man. I was so into the game. Like I remember I'm running.
That sounds like a game you could get into.
I cut my leg open, like not like bad, but like I remember I was running and like there was just kind of like some dried blood on my leg, and like people were like, "He's too into it." Like I was like an animal playing this game.
Turning in the Rambo in the woods.
Yeah, it was so much fun, man. But it was cool being on that island because you'd run around the island and eventually you'd get to like, you know, the water.
That feeling of isolation is very, very neat, yeah.
And, like, you'd hear people, like kind of, like, yelling or, like, you know, like, running somewhere, like, blah, blah, blah. But,
until you hear the scream, that definitely wasn't from a human.
You know, Skinwalker or something. A Wendigo. You think any of that's real? You think any... Yeah, I'm not sure about it either, I don't think.
You see all the TikToks, like, oh my god, what are all these disappearances near the U.S. cave system in the national parks? I don't believe in spiritual things, but I believe in angry bears.
Yeah. Bears are tough. You know, so I actually some of my friends from one of them again from California and another one she's in Quebec right now, but I think she's going back to France pretty soon. They were here at my house. We had dinner with them. Like my family, you know, got to meet them and like ask them some questions and stuff and like kind of get to know them because they were visiting Boston. So she was saying how she was hiking in Quebec on one of their mountains, and they have some of the Appalachian mountains, but you know, not like, of course, what's in New Hampshire. Yeah. But they do have some cool mountains. Like there's one that, dude, it looks like a circle with like a peak in the middle. It almost looks like a crater or something.
Oh, so kind of like Chikora a little bit, or it's
like you have the mountain in the middle, like maybe like this. That would be.
So it's like concave instead of convex. I could have that backwards.
No, like okay, so here's the mountain, and then there's a crater rim around it. So it's down, and then there's this little rim that a lip almost.
Very, very neat.
Yeah, it's really. I'd love to see that at the top. But she said she ran into a bear there, and she was like wondering what to do, but eventually got scared and ran off.
What was it, like a black bear? They don't have like brown or grizzlies.
I don't.
Because it's eastern, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of bear she said, but it's probably a black bear because like I don't think we have a lot of grizzlies around here.
No.
I doubt it.
I wouldn't be hiking if we did. No, I would. But like mountain lions and anything, like the most dangerous thing we have here is black bear, which if you scream at it, it'll go away.
I mean, those things like will eat you. You know, like have you seen The Revenant?
Yeah,
that was a great movie. I think he finally got an Oscar for that one.
Yeah, he
right?
did.
Yeah, I can see myself. You know where I want to go is the Pacific Northwest. I want to see the sequoia trees.
I love the like general. I know it's a cheap word, but I love the vibe because you just wake up in the morning and you just see fog and you see these gorgeous trees that are going hundreds of feet up.
Yeah, it's a very green area.
Yeah.
What? All right. So if you could travel anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah.
Given that our topic is travel, where would you go? Like, what would be like if? How about this, ready? If I said you can't travel for the next 20 years, but you get 2 weeks in this place or this country, or like where would you pick? If it was something like
Iceland would be up there, but if I had 2 weeks and I couldn't go anywhere else,
For a long time, just for a long
honestly, I think China is a good bet because the amount of natural diversity China has is incredible. Like I think if you look at the most geographically diverse countries, I think the United States has to be one.
China is probably.
But China's probably two. Yeah.
I was thinking about. It's funny. I was thinking something similar when I was asking that question because I would love to go to the Tibetan Plateau. You know, that is amazing to me. It is a piece of land that is just elevated.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it's flat. I mean, you have the Himalayas on the southern part of it because India's crashing. The Indian subcontinent's crashing into it.
Yeah.
But I would love to just like hang out with the monks. You know, see what they're up to. I want to see that.
Imagine how good the tea is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's pretty good.
I'd love to just wake up there and go downstairs and hang out with the monks and just have some tea with them. Because I bet you they know things that we don't. And I bet you they're very wise.
I'm sure.
But
they've been looking at mountains their whole lives. They have to be wise.
Yeah, and they're just kind of like thinking about it like this. It's great. I know in southern China they have those mountains that are really jagged looking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking? I would love to go up like one of those like staircases that goes like this, like in the mountain. That would be kind of cool.
I think the Gobi Desert is pretty neat as well.
Yeah, so they have deserts. They're like us in a lot of ways with their geography. They just don't have another like ocean on the other side.
Yeah.
They just faced east. I'd love to see the Forbidden City. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm not such a fan of the government.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't defend the government over there, but I think that their natural, you know, dude, the Great Wall. I would love to see that. I don't. Why would you, you know, go after a culture like that? I think the culture is very beautiful, and you can see in the architecture that it's there. You know, I think, you know, my buddy Matt and I were talking about this on the last podcast. We were saying how, you know, every civilization or like kind of group of people have, you know, specific architecture styles. So in Europe, you have like Gothic. You have like, you know, I know in ancient Greece they had like the Ionian columns and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, in East Asia, they have a totally different building style. India, Middle East, you know, even the New World, they had some building styles.
Yeah, you can even see a difference in architecture between New England and other places, even inside New England itself. Because New Hampshire, the kind of like dark oak, like log kind of lodge, and then you have those very Puritan like churches everywhere around here.
Dude, when I was in Slovakia, it reminded me of like houses you'd see in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I was laughing. I'm like, oh my god, this is very similar. It's not the same, of course.
Yeah.
But it's so similar. And when I was in Tromsø, Norway. I saw the Northern Lights up there with two of my buddies. What an incredible experience, first of all. But second of all, the homes there reminded me of things you might see in coastal Massachusetts.
That is very neat.
You know, so
yeah, I personally would love that.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm like, this is so similar. But a lot of the larger buildings were really, really beautiful and modern. I mean, they had this library in the middle of the city, and it was just like, it was like encased in glass.
Oh.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was so awesome. It was really cool. I have to just say, dude, go to Norway someday.
Yeah,
I know
it's
I'm going
on my
back.
list. Scandinavia is very, very high up on my list.
I didn't see any. Actually, well, I don't know if I saw a fjord or not. I'm pretty sure I did, because basically we did like this hike, and we were on. You know, Tromsø is an island that sits at the bottom of like near sea level.
Yeah.
And then everything around it's very mountainous. It's kind of like it goes up from the sea. So I remember I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to take the cable car up. That's cheating, blah, blah, blah. My buddies were like, but we'll save time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. Because it was getting dark. You know, it gets dark very early there. The sun came up around like 9 a.m. and then it was gone around 4. But we were hiking and we took the cable car up, and then it was almost like we just kept going. Like at like a cool incline, and we got to the top. Man, when I tell you the sun went down, but it didn't get dark for another 3.5 hours. You know how when the sun goes down around here,
you have to, like when you're stargazing, you have to wait like 3 hours before you can actually see anything.
Yeah, like the sun goes down there, but because of how far north we were, it wasn't really going.
It wasn't
below
going
the horizon.
far down. You
Yeah,
know?
it was like the sky was still like the yellow, orange, and red color.
That is very neat.
And it wouldn't go away for like I was like, honestly, because I take an interest in like astronomy and like how like the kind of world like interrelates with itself. It was just fascinating to me to see the sun not go away.
Yeah, that is.
And dude, what we're talking about, this is the beauty of travel. You get to see other parts of the world, how other people do things. I had this guy take our picture on the mountain.
Yeah.
Dude, he was like, he came out of nowhere, like out of the will. Like it looked like a tundra, right? He comes out of nowhere and he's got like he's got a camelback on. He's like, yeah, I just ran like 11 kilometers today. And I'm like looking at him like, what? I'm like that. And he took our picture and I was like, cheers, man. Like, good luck. He's like, yeah, I got another like 5 or 6 to go. And by then it was starting to become night. It was awesome, man. It was so awesome. But yeah, dude, I think China's an excellent pick for, seeing the world like that. I want to see a lot of the world.
Yeah, I do too. I still need to get my passport, but
You gotta get the passport, dude. Passport is essential. I don't know, flying. There's some tricks to flying, I think.
yeah.
I always try and go on those websites where it's like cheaper to book. I'm not sure if it actually works, but I get some better prices.
My problem that I'm going to run into traveling is I know this is the case for a lot of places I've looked into, but when I go somewhere, I want to rent a car rather than taking trains. Because A, I like that feeling of driving, and B, you were talking earlier about how you were passing like these mountains, Slovakia. If you were in a car, you could just say, "Hey, those mountains,"
Yeah, like,
and then
let's
just
distract it.
go over. That's like I feel like a car just when you're traveling, a car just brings so many different aspects of like freedom of movement that it's just superior in my eyes. But
Yeah. In that.
oh, sorry. Let me just. I started the point and didn't finish it. A lot of places won't let you rent a car until you're 25
Yeah.
for insurance reasons.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. I think that if I had a car, I would have driven it there. It was really kind of nuts how we had to get there. It was like we ran on this railway to this small town. Then we got on a bus, and then that bus took us to like the village that's near the base of the mountain.
Yeah.
But dude, it was like a long walk to the base of the mountain.
Yeah,
I think that's where we got a lot of hours in. I mean, I think we spent at least 2, 3, 4 hours doing that.
The walk
total.
back must have been brutal. That's the worst thing because I much prefer going up a mountain than going down anyways.
Yeah.
But if you have to walk another 3 miles flatland back to your car, that's just
Yeah, it was tough. It was cool. We got back to the hotel. Or no, we got back and I had a burger, of course. Like I feel like that's like what you have
I'm
to do.
surprised I have burgers all the way out there.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I was surprised, but they love their cheeseburgers, man.
Yeah. Everyone
it's good.
loves a good cheeseburger, yeah.
The bun was black. It wasn't burned. It was just like the color
Was
of
it
the
like
bun.
a pepper thing or?
It could have been. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I was way too hungry. I saw it and I'm like, I want the one with the black bun.
Yeah.
And the waitress, she was like, well, it has. They spoke English there. They did. They spoke English there, but it was, you really have to not be careful what you're saying, but you don't want to confuse anybody.
Yeah.
So you just kind of want to I always cue it with hand gestures and like, oh, I point to it in the menu.
Yeah,
because it helps with the communication, especially when you're doing it interculturally.
Although I will say, I think you can go anywhere in the world, and if you say hamburger in an American accent, everyone's gonna know what a hamburger is.
Yeah. Going to Prague, I always, I didn't know what to expect. Even 2 years ago when I went.
How's the beer?
Oh man, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, dude. You can get beer for cheaper than water.
I'm not surprised.
You go to like they call them Potravini, or they say it differently, but I'm an American, so you're gonna have to put up with my accent. I'm sorry, but in Potravini's they have like beer in like 2-liter bottles, and you could just or like liter bottles. You can just grab it and go. You can drink it in public, dude. They don't have any laws regarding drinking in public.
Are IPAs popular over there? Or? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just Pivo. That's the word for beer.
Okay.
You can go to. I remember I had my birthday at a beer garden.
Oh, that is very cool.
It was awesome, dude. It was out in a park. I got so lucky because I didn't book a venue, dude. I didn't do any of that. I just knew the beer garden had lots of tables. People were texting me like, it's going to rain, it's going to rain.
Didn't?
I'm like it just can't ring. Like it just can't
Yeah,
ring.
yeah,
today. You know, like my buddies were like, "What if we go somewhere else? What about this bar?" I'm like, "We're not gonna have enough room," because I really invited like the whole school. Like it was awesome. Like it was really cool. I ended up using that as a campaign event for my president
Smart
race.
multi.
Well, it was just the election got
Multi-purpose.
delayed. So like originally it was the 29th, and then it was delayed to the 6th. I had already put my posters
just
up
for
at that
just for
point.
reasons. Or?
The reason that was given was there weren't enough people who applied.
Oh.
I didn't apply until like I put my posters up before I officially applied,
Okay.
but everyone knew I was running. Like I put my posters up, but they left the old posters up, so it was a little unclear to me. So I kind of had to go around changing all my posters to May 6th. But my birthday on Cinco de Mayo was incredible. It was incredible. I had such a good time, and I was really lucky to have lots of people there. So some of my competitors I didn't invite, and maybe that was the wrong decision, but I don't know. But man, yeah, like traveling, so important. Just definitely something that more people should do.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're hitting the half-hour mark here. So, Chris Burns, thank you for coming on my show.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me,
appreciate it. And I hope to have you on here again sometime.
Sounds good. I am
All right.
down.
Guys, thank you very much. In the future, more episodes will be coming out. I plan on doing this with lots of people, so I really hope you enjoyed and have a good rest of your day.